In this video, I want to see if I can provide you with another idea or a method that can be used to prevent something like this from happening on a deck or a long ramp you are building. Now, if everything is square, then you're not going to have a problem like this. But if these boards for the ramp, for example, are off just a little bit, you could end up with something like this. And realistically, all you need is to run a string down the center of it. And with a straight string, you will be able to create a nice starting point and a point where you can use or create points along the way to double check everything to make sure that they are straight. Now, the ramp down here is everything is perpendicular. So 90-degree angle coming off of the joist. This one up here, you can see it's not. It's off a little bit. And I see this if you have a building that's out of square or something that you're using for your measurements and you can't square it because it has to be parallel to the building or something like that. And you have other sections that might be off a little bit, and that's what I drew over here. Or even if you have joists that the outside joists that are bowed or bowed in or bowed out, or maybe they aren't installed perfectly straight either, then you could end up with some problems with the joists, the edges not finishing off. Now, of course, you can always have the joist go over a little bit, maybe an inch or two, and then snap a straight line to create a nice edge also. But that might look good on the top. It might not look good from below. But again, depends on what you're dealing with. So all I'm suggesting is that you use a string and run it down the middle and then set a framing square against it. And this will give you a 90-degree line. And if these boards are off a little bit, you'll be able to pull them in or push them out as you're moving along. And of course, you can always use the string to measure everything. You know, if I'm here and I measure from the center of the string, and over here I have, let's say I have a 4-foot wide ramp I'm trying to work with, and I have 25 inches over here, well, I've got a problem. You know, if it's 24 inches to here and I go in 10 feet and I got 24.5 inches or 25 inches, I got a problem. So you got to be able to address these problems, and that's where this string will help. And if you can use it either way. This string, you can run it on the outside and start with one that is nice and straight. Great, you've solved your problem. Or you can run it in the middle and simply mark off get yourself a nice straight line to start with. And of course, you can see here where it's not going to work out with this section here because we're out of whack a little bit. But this will give you a pretty good idea of what you actually need to do. Run a straight line across here, then make the desired marks for your starting points. And I would recommend making these marks at 10-foot intervals or even 15-foot intervals, something that you can use as you're going along to make sure that everything is staying nice and straight. And then, of course, you can start by putting your first plank down, and everything, of course, is going to be perpendicular. You're not going to have any edges that are going to be offset or at an angle here. And again, these can always be used as reference points or guidelines if you need to move the board over a little bit. So if you need to move it over 6 inches, that's going to work out best to have everything work out over here. Then you would just simply measure 6 inches from the edge of the plank to the line on each side and then firmly attach the board for your starting point. And then start installing your planking boards, and everything should line up on the edge and be nice and straight. Now, this is just another method. There are other methods you can use, but there's nothing like a nice, tight string to create a straight line and to provide you with a guide point to install either the joist or the planking when you are building a long ramp.